Ladies and gentlemen, if this video is currently being watched by a lot of you guys, that means that the power has remained on, and yes, the weather is very bad, so I do hope that you won't be able to hear the majority of it with the background music and whatnot and me talking, but be thankful about that, ladies and gentlemen. The power is on, I'm able to live my life normally, and altogether, just overall positive vibe. So what's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a very long one, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to look at every single Chicago Bulls player and discuss their preseason overall. So there's no real, hiding away from certain players. For those players that you want me to talk about that I have missed, I will be talking about them in this video at some point throughout this video. So stay tuned for all of that. We'll look at every single player, discuss my opinion on their preseason, whether it was a positive one, a negative one. I may even talk about Billy Donovan in this video as well and things like that. So we'll be discussing all of that in this video. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls' entire preseason in general. And we're going to keep on talking about the preseason until the real big games count, ladies and gentlemen. And then that is when the busyness of the Chicago Bulls begin. That's when we'll see games constantly, on a constant basis. We'll see back-to-backs. We'll see guys getting tired. We'll see guys resting games. We'll see guys trying to do everything it possibly can take to win these types of games. We may even, surprise, surprise, see our starters in the fourth quarter. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't seen that all preseason. We may very well see it in the regular season. So stay on the lookout for all of those things, ladies and gentlemen. Before I go any further, obviously the players that have not had a preseason, I will just pretty much say they didn't have a preseason, so stay on the lookout for that. And I'm also going to talk about players that have been waived or cut from the Chicago Bulls, which only, from my understanding, has been one player from this point. And that's who we're going to start with now, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to talk about Javonte Freeman Liberty's preseason first and foremost. I'm not going to make them incredibly long, just so I don't make this an hour-long video or anything like that. But Javonte Freeman Liberty, in my opinion, for the game that he played, he only played one game, had a very good preseason, in all honesty. He made a couple of his three-point shots. He showed he could knock down a three-point shot at the NBA level, from the NBA three-point line as well and stuff like that. Obviously, there were a couple of times where he was a little bit too aggressive, maybe could have made the extra pass to certain people. But again, in the limited minutes that he played, I thought he was actually very impressive, which is why I do believe there is a chance for him to make the NBA at some stage throughout his whole basketball career. Because someone that can knock down the three-point shot, in my opinion, is going to be an effective asset throughout the course of the NBA. And I'm sure there will be one team or a couple teams looking at him if he can continue to shoot the three ball well and continues to play hard. I'm sure there will be a team that will look at him at some stage and say, maybe we can give this guy a chance. Maybe even will be the Bulls down the line. It is very rare that a lot of guys get NBA chances these days because, again, the NBA is so stacked with talent, but it is what it is. We just got to hope that at the end of the day, he does get a chance, and maybe it will be for the Chicago Bulls. We'll move on from that one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk about Patrick Williams next. Now, Patrick Williams, in my opinion, again, I'm a guy that started for the Chicago Bulls for the majority of the preseason, started 2 games for the Chicago Bulls, the game against the New Orleans Pelicans and the game against the Milwaukee Bucks. I've got to be honest, I did not enjoy Patrick Williams' preseason that much. At the end of the day, I think he's one of the guys that all of us were really looking forward to seeing the improvements that he made. And all I could really see from the improvement factor so far is that he's trying to be more aggressive. He is shooting more shots than what we expect him to shoot, or what he has been shooting in his first season in the NBA. But unfortunately, he's not been making a lot of those shots. A lot of the shots have gotten blocked. Sometimes, at the end of the day, he's not really contributed much to the games and things like that, which has been a very disappointing factor for Patrick Williams. There's no hiding the fact that he's had a disappointing preseason. He had a very good game against the Milwaukee Bucks in which the Bulls used him effectively in pick and rolls. He was able to be more aggressive. He called his number up very early and constantly as well. He took a lot of shots and he was efficient. The Milwaukee Bucks game was fantastic. For Patrick Williams, it's always been about trying to get those games that we've seen, the last game of the season last year, the Summer League performances prior years before that, his playoff performances and things like that, and make it more consistent. I'd love to see Patrick Williams used in pick and rolls more often. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem that he's either willing to do that, maybe the Bulls are not willing to do that, or when he's in the starting lineup, he's just taking back seats to Zach Levine and Demar Derozan, and he's not calling his own number as much as he should. An aggressive Patrick Williams, in my opinion, is the best version of Patrick Williams. So I hope we can see better from Patrick Williams in the regular season, but not very good preseason in all honesty. Kostas Antetokounmpo next, ladies and gentlemen. Now, played very few minutes, so it's hard to really come up with a really positive thing to say about Kostas Antetokounmpo. He's athletic. He scored 2 points, I think, respectively in the 2 preseason games that he played. One of them he got stripped. He got a nice block that was considered a foul in one of those games as well. A lot of people question his lack of awareness on the court. Got easily stripped from, in one of those games where he shouldn't have, and stuff like that. But very few and far between minutes, so it's hard to say what truly Kostas Antetokounmpo is on this Chicago Bulls team and in the NBA in general. But I'm going to say he had a fairly average preseason. Some good things. He showed his athleticism. He can be physical. He has scored in both of the games, but there were some mistakes there that was obviously made. And it's about, I guess, trying to fine-tune himself to hopefully have a breakout year wherever he decides to go, or if the Bulls even decide to keep him. So I hope Kostas Antetokounmpo can find a way back with the Chicago Bulls team, and I hope he's done enough to impress in training to maybe get an opportunity, because he'd be one of the guys I'd really consider giving that two-way contract spot to. But performances-wise, I don't think he's done enough. If we're going based on performances and who's played better out of the two-way contract spots, he's not the guy that I would pick, in all honesty. So hopefully he can find his way back. Hopefully he can fine-tune some of those mistakes and, I guess, lack of awareness areas that people called out. And hopefully he can have a much better performance wherever he decides to go. Justin Lewis did not have a preseason game, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll move on from that one. Our rookie, Dalen Terry. I thought Dalen Terry's preseason performance was fantastic. Not necessarily just because of the numbers he produced. In my opinion, he was one of the hardest working players on this Chicago Bulls team in preseason, which I think for a rookie is an essential part, because you want to establish yourself. You want to prove to the coaching staff that you could be in the NBA, you can play NBA minutes, and you will not look out of place. You will look like you belong. And of course, hard work and energy is something that every team needs, and Dalen Terry provided that. But he looked better than his summer league performances in many ways. He knocked down the three-point shot better in the preseason compared to the summer league. He ran the floor better. He got less turnovers as well. Of course, these are all in a lot less minutes, but very positive things to see. I see something very similar with Dalen Terry compared to what I saw with Ayo Dosunmu. Remember last year, I was talking about Ayo Dosunmu's summer league and how poor it actually was, considering the fact that, again, he was kind of the point guard, and he wasn't really playing like a point guard. He got a lot of his points from the open play and from transition, and that's where Ayo Dosunmu was the most effective. But moving into the preseason, into the NBA, he knocks down the three-point shot better. He knocks down the mid-range shot better. He uses the pick and roll better. I think with Dalen Terry, and same with Ayo Dosunmu, those players play better when they're playing around better players. When you're playing around summer league quality, you can't do all the things that you probably want to do from the playmaking side and even from the scoring side as well. But when you put a bunch of other players out there that are at the same level, if not better than Dalen Terry, you're going to see Dalen Terry improving his quality as well. And I think that's exactly what we've seen. But you've got to give full credit to how seriously he's taken this summer league, his preseason experience, and how well he's truly done. So I'm very happy with Dalen Terry. I thought he had a great preseason. Speaking of someone else that had a great preseason, ladies and gentlemen, Javonte Green. In my opinion, Javonte Green is one of the two guys that I would really look at and say they had the best preseason for the Chicago Bulls. He's definitely one of them. Starting, coming off the bench, it did not matter, ladies and gentlemen, because Javonte Green brought the energy, brought the scoring ability, brought his rebounding ability, brought his athleticism, brought his movement, all into one, and he was absolutely phenomenal in the preseason. And there's a lot to like from this performance. Him knocking down the three-point shot at a higher level is going to be huge for this team. You could take all the other stuff away from Javonte Green that he does that's so valuable. The fact that he's added that to his game, which for the most part, whether he's starting or coming off the bench, he's going to be sitting in that corner for a lot of that time. He makes that corner shot at a higher level, huge for the Chicago Bulls. But then when you add the other stuff like his movement, like his cuts, like his ability to catch lobs and do lob layups, or his ability to dunk from the free throw line and things like that, I think this player, with alongside of his hard work, is definitely by far one of the best preseason performances I've seen from the Chicago Bulls. Out of everybody, I'm extremely happy with Javonte Green. And once again, in 2 preseason years in a row, we've been talking about Javonte Green should be starting by the regular season. So there's a lot to look forward to there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what the Bulls decide to do. Carlick Jones. I think for the most part, Carlick Jones was fairly average in preseason. A couple of bad errors, but also got a couple of and ones, made some okay decisions. I think the majority of the time I remember his first game against the Pelicans. But again, one of those guys very similar to Javon Freeman-Liberty, did not get a lot of time. Same with Kostas Antetokounmpo, did not get a lot of time. So I can't necessarily say he had a great preseason or a mediocre preseason to a poor preseason. In my opinion, he was just fairly average in his role. And I do find it very hard for him to really obtain that two-way contract spot, but maybe he's impressed in training camp and he can get that chance. Marko Siminovic. Probably the guy I've been the most disappointed with, to be honest, and I don't necessarily think it's his fault. He just didn't get enough game time, and I'm surprised because Carlick Jones got more game time, Kostas Antetokounmpo got more game time, Javon Freeman-Liberty played a little bit more than Marko Siminovic as well. Malcolm Hill played more. These are all two-way contract guys, and for Marko, I can't remember that much he's actually done in preseason, which is extremely upsetting considering the fact that, in my opinion, he had one of the best summer league experiences, but the Bulls clearly just don't see him as ready for the NBA yet. And if he's not playing in preseason, what are the odds that he's going to be playing in the regular season? I'll tell you what, it's a lot less than what we anticipate. So be on the lookout for Marko not getting any more game time in the regular season. Be on the lookout for him playing in the G League. Be on the lookout for him dominating the G League once again. And then we'll see what happens down the line, whether or not we'll even keep him. But if he plays the year after, I just don't see him playing this year. Power forward or center position, I just don't see it happening. Malcolm Hill. Out of all the players on two-way contract spots, Malcolm Hill has had the best preseason. His ability to knock down the three-point shot was very, very huge. He even got one of them that was ruled out as well, so it was even better than what we anticipated. He got out on the break very nicely as well, played some solid defense. If you're looking based on form alone, he should be the guy that gets the two-way contract spot. If you're looking at development factors and age of players and things like that, which you should take into consideration, then in my opinion, Malcolm Hill probably wouldn't be that guy. But if you're looking at how well these guys have played, Malcolm Hill has taken that opportunity more than anybody. And he thoroughly deserves a two-way contract spot if that's how you're basing it off. So fair play to Malcolm Hill for that. Again, I like his work ethic, and he can provide something useful for the Chicago Bulls main team if he can be a consistent spot-up shooter when he gets those limited chances. So we'll wait and see what the Bulls decide to do. Again, I think we'll know very, very quickly what's going to be the outcome for that two-way contract spot. Tony Bradley. To be honest, not a lot of game time that he's actually played. He had one good game. I think it was against the New Orleans Pelicans where he got 4 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist in a very small space of time. And then I think there was another game where he got blocks 3 times in a row and things like that. I'm not sure what the future of Tony Bradley is going to hold. I don't think a lot of people want him here. I've seen a couple of comments saying that Tony Bradley should not be playing over Marko and things like that. So I very much doubt that he's going to be the guy that we actually turn to for the main minutes for the Chicago Bulls. And I can see a possibility where he does get waived that we bring in someone else. Something I even discussed with my friend, just a little bit off topic. Carmelo still hasn't signed with a team yet. So that gives us, the more days that go by, the more chances we actually have to bring in a guy like Carmelo Anthony, which means Tony Bradley will most likely be the guy that has to give way. So again, maybe upsetting for Tony Bradley, but if he does stay here, I hope he could do better than what he's shown. But I would say fairly average preseason for Tony Bradley in all honesty. Ayo Dosunmu. 4 starting positions, or 4 starting games, I should say, for Ayo Dosunmu at the point guard position. And all I can say is he's done fairly well in that role. Was he exceptionally good? I would arguably say no, but he plays his role so well. Again, I think he's a very good defender, especially one-on-one. I think he could use his length to really get maybe a couple of shot blocks here and there and make it very hard for offensive players to really attack. I think, again, he can knock down the three-point shot, in my opinion, better than a lot of the other guards that we have on this team, especially from the corners. He's a guy that can attack the rim. He's still very young. He's going to be building his confidence in his second year as well. I think there's a lot to like about Ayo Dosunmu, but he hasn't been exceptional and he's been far from poor as well. He's had a very good preseason where he played his role well. He brought something to the starting point guard position and it looks like it's his spot to lose. So very, very happy with Ayo Dosunmu overall as well. I thought he played fairly well. Demar Derozan is next, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going from numbers from back to front. So if you can kind of tell, from 11 to 9 to 8, we're going to be talking about the big three for the Chicago Bulls very, very soon. Demar Derozan, I thought, had a very good preseason. I think maybe it was the Pelicans game where I don't think he did very, very well. But other than that, I thought he was very solid for the Chicago Bulls. He played 3 preseason games, missed the Milwaukee Bucks one. But overall, 21 points for most of them. He had a near triple-double performance against the Toronto Raptors. I thought he played very well against Denver. A very solid Demar Derozan performance overall. And it's a standard Demar Derozan performance overall as well. I think we've come to expect performances like this. And the fact that he's delivering in preseason is only a good sign that he will get even better in the regular season with more minutes under his name. Demar Derozan can be a guy that brings us victories with his ability and his talent. So I think it's going to be an essential part to some of these games. Some of the games where maybe the Bulls are struggling, the Bulls are not passing the ball well, the Bulls have constant turnovers, guys don't really want to take that shot. Demar Derozan is there, and he's going to lead the way for those types of games. He's definitely going to be valuable in that aspect as well. Demar Derozan has had a good preseason. Someone else that's had a good preseason is Nicola Brucevic, a revolutionary preseason, one would say. Now, we can't get too ahead of ourselves, but in my opinion, Nicola Brucevic has had a very good defensive preseason, getting his hands on multiple deflections, getting steals and blocks as well, getting good rebounds, moving very well, looking a little bit more mobile, which is all things he probably planned for in this off-season to get good at for the regular season. And in preseason, I thought he had a very good defensive showing. Not the best. He had to, again, he played against a team with Scottie Barnes and Pascal Siakam at center. He played a couple of times where they were playing small ball, and he does get caught out from those positions. He's not the best guy to really be guarding a small ball center and things like that. But overall, I thought he had a great offensive preseason and a very good defensive preseason as well. So I have a huge thumbs up for Nicola Vucevic. I thought he's fantastic. I thought his playmaking was very good as well. Again, getting his hands on steals and blocks and deflections, and he kept on hitting the ball away from the pick and roll. And not to mention, he made the three-point shot a little bit better, but he got a lot of post hooks as well. Fantastic performance from Nicola Vucevic in preseason. Zach Levine, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I thought Zach Levine had a very upsetting preseason, in my opinion. I'm very worried about what Zach Levine is going to bring to the table at the regular season. As I said in a previous video, I wish Zach Levine played that Milwaukee Bucks game just so we could get a little bit more momentum out of Zach Levine in the future. But he decided to rest. The Bulls decided to rest him. And overall, I'm kind of confident that we'll see Zach Levine scoring again, but his decision-making was also a big question mark as well. A lot worse in that Toronto Raptors game than I ever thought he could. So a bit frustrating there. He's had, in my opinion, probably the worst preseason out of everybody. And I understand he's had a knee surgery. He's trying to get back. He's trying to build his way back into the team as well. So just by the fact that him having the worst preseason doesn't necessarily mean a lot, to be honest, but it's definitely something of concern until we can see what he brings to the table in the regular season. We've got about a week to really focus on Zach Levine and see what Zach Levine will bring to that Miami Heat game. If he's going to bring the 7 points and 5 turnovers version of Zach Levine, that's a big worry. But if he's going to bring his scoring, see if he's going to get to the line, I expect Zach Levine to get a few turnovers here and there, but if he's able to get some elements of playmaking as well, that's going to be a very good version of Zach Levine that I think a lot of us currently miss. Move on into the next one, Goran Drogish, ladies and gentlemen. Outside of the Pelicans game, which I thought was absolutely horrible, he had 2 other games after that, both of them very good. There were a couple of times where it was a bit shaky, got a couple of turnovers, but good from the mid-range, was good at even running the fast break a little bit as well. Very, very crafty individual. A lot of things that you come to expect from Goran Dragic. What you see for Goran Dragic on the Bulls is no different than what you've seen from Goran Dragic throughout the majority of his career. Yes, he's probably not as fast as he used to be. Yes, sometimes you can clearly see that he's 36 years old, but all things considered, I think he's had a very good preseason, and he's showing what he brings to the table for the Chicago Bulls. Alex Caruso, very strong defensive preseason. Again, a leader in that way. He has shown to be a leader. Guy that got a lot of steals. I think he got 3 steals in one game as well. He also brought his ability to score, his fast break opportunities. All of that was fantastic. And I would say a pretty solid preseason overall for Alex Caruso. I think it could have been better, but also it's far from his worst. And again, this is just a general Alex Caruso performance in preseason. We love what Alex Caruso brings to the table, and therefore we loved what Alex Caruso brought to the preseason team, especially off of that bench. And I thought that bench was fantastic. Derrick Jones Jr. is next, ladies and gentlemen. I would say a fairly standard preseason for Derrick Jones Jr. He had the ability to start one of those games, so I think the minutes for him would be very crucial coming off our bench. Got a nice couple of layups and stuff like that. Showed his athleticism, got a nice dunk at the end of the Milwaukee Bucks game as well. Pretty solid performance overall from Derrick Jones Jr. A lot of very similarities to last season as well throughout the regular season. Those 6 points and 2 rebound performances is exactly kind of what we saw in the preseason for the Chicago Bulls as well. Andre Drummond. I thought he had an outstanding preseason. Now, not necessarily from the points that he scored or for what he can actually bring to the table. I truly think Andre Drummond can do a lot more than what we've actually seen from him. He shot 3 threes against the Raptors, which, again, still boggles my mind till this day. But other than that, I think his offensive rebound and his ability to crash the glass offensively helps us defensively as well, because there are very few transition plays when that happens. Not only that, I think his ability to get good screens really helps the Chicago Bulls team, and I think he provides a lot of depth at that center position that we sorely missed. I think Vucevic can be out of the floor for 10, 15 minutes for sometimes, because Andre Drummond is playing that well as a player in certain games. He had a really good game against the Milwaukee Bucks, and I thought he played a very good game against the Toronto Raptors as well. Just an absolutely, in my opinion, he's going to be pivotal to this season. Be on the lookout for Andre Drummond. Do not sleep on Andre Drummond. Last but not least, Coby White. Lonzo Ball, he returned to Chicago recently, but he didn't have a preseason. And then the last player would obviously be Coby White. Coby White was a bit of an interesting one, because I think we've seen a very similar Coby White to what we saw last year, in all honesty. A guy that cooked in certain quarters. Again, the last quarter against the Milwaukee Bucks, he's had very good second half performances. But even the games where he didn't score necessarily very well, he got 6 assists in. He playmaked. He played good defense. So I think there's a lot to like from Coby White's performances overall, but we're still seeing elements of inconsistency there, which is something we've always come to see from Coby White in recent years. So I would say there's still a big question mark over Coby White's head right now, but I feel like a lot of people are giving Coby White a chance, which I massively respect, and I think he should get another chance overall. And I don't think this preseason has turned a lot of people off of Coby White just yet. We'll see what happens in the regular season, because I think there will be 1 or 2 games where he has 0 points, 0 from 8 from the field, and people will get on Coby White's back from that, I can guarantee it. So we'll wait and see what he can do in the regular season. I'd say a fairly good preseason for Coby White, but fairly standard as well. And that's it from the entire Chicago Bulls team in preseason. If I have missed anybody, I A, sincerely apologize, and also B, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll write out what I think about their preseason if I did forget anyone. But I don't think I have, so I'm going to end this video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Enjoy another 20-minute video from me. And again, if you're even watching this video and you've made it this far, then the power is on, ladies and gentlemen. The weather conditions has not affected anything, and I'm good to go, and hopefully we will be seeing very similar things where I can upload again on the next day. So have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care.